Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again. I am here today to talk about a very special movie. But first, what did I want to talk about before the review? Oh yeah. Something really funny happened that I've never seen it happen before. It was a really weird glitch on YouTube Studio yesterday. It was really funny. Like, I woke up and, when I wake up, I usually check my social media, I check my email, and I check my YouTube Studio. And when I go on YouTube Studio, all of a sudden I see 20 plus comments from like the past 8 to 9 months. Like, it was hilarious. Like, I saw, like, a comment on the Batman video I never saw. I saw all these comments, because what happens is every time a new comment comes in, they're supposed to pop up on the main page, and then you respond to them, and they disappear. And, like, for some reason, all these months, YouTube has been hiding all these comments from me. And so I thought that was really bizarre. Like, all these stupid comments, too. Like, there were basically, like, 17 terrible, dumb comments and then 3 good ones. Like, there was this one where I can't even remember. Like, I think it was Double Double Toil and Trouble, the Mary-Kate and Ashley movie. And this guy, like, said, like, something like, "Are you kidding me?" And it's like, what the? These are some stupid comments. And there was this one where this person just wrote, "Shut up!" And it's like, God, these people, like, what do they expect when they write these stupid comments like that? So, like, I just deleted all of them because, like, here's the thing. I don't really care about negative comments. I mean, to be honest, they help with engagement. And they actually boost all my videos. But the thing is that I don't tolerate disrespect. And I know that if you went to someone's house and you went inside their house and you're a guest in their house, you would never disrespect them and you'd never say anything like the things that they say in these video comments. And so my policy is just, you can have, like, opposite opinions. You can say, what do you mean? Like, what did you mean by this, that? But once you go past the level and you go into being disrespectful, that's when you're getting deleted. And I don't really care, like, boo-hoo. I don't care. That's just my policy. I don't tolerate disrespect, because it's my channel. And, if I went on your channel, you wouldn't tolerate it either. So, there was this one particularly funny one, though, where this woman commented on my video about Vince Gilligan having his midlife Kim crisis, and this girl, I guess, I can't remember, they said, "Are you kidding me? Skylar smoking had nothing to do with her character. It was just a part of the family dynamic. Please leave me your contact information so we can talk more about this issue." And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is just the most stupidest things I've ever heard. Like, Skylar smoking, that doesn't matter. It had to do with the family dynamic. Like, yeah, who cares about a family dynamic? If she does something stupid, that's going to make her character unlikable. Like, it doesn't matter what they're trying to do overall. If you do something dumb, that's going to make you unlikable. And, like, that's why I've said, like, with Lalo, I really liked his character when his family got killed. And then he did that thing where he went to Werner's wife's house and he did everything in his humanly powers to not kill her. But then when he kills Coward and he turns into a retard and then gets killed, I didn't like him anymore. Why? Because he made stupid character decisions that weren't consistent with his character. And it was the same thing with Skylar, where she's smoking while pregnant. And it's like, that's something, you wouldn't like a person who did that. So I don't really care about the family dynamic. So anyway, I thought that was really bizarre, the way that these 20 plus comments, even from someone who comments a lot on my videos, this person, I had just now seen their comment because it popped up with all this cluster of comments. And I thought that was really, really weird. It just shows how corrupt YouTube is and how YouTube is so, it's just such a fake, dumb platform. Like, I used to really love YouTube, and I used to really think that it was like the way of the future, where everyone could make videos. It was a way. They used to have a messaging system, and I had gotten a girlfriend on YouTube. It was this girl in Kentucky, and she was like this sexy redhead girl, and she really loved the Lost Boys like me, and I really liked her. And, I could never find her again because she disappeared and the messaging disappeared. And so, YouTube really changed once Google bought it, and it really changed for the worst. So that's unfortunate. It's just really unfortunate that YouTube has now become what it has become. So, I am here to review Beetlejuice, and this is yet another movie about people trying to save their house and about trying to get rid of these evil, stupid people and these humans. And of course, they end up trying to develop the town and turn it into a shitty place like the people around here are doing with Stonehill Village, aka Bonehill Village. And so I really love this movie. I gotta be honest, I really don't have any flaws about the movie at all. I really think the movie is like one of the best movies of the 80s. It's such a fun movie. And I think the reason why I love it is because this is the perfect example of how to make a kids movie and how to make a kids movie that sort of crosses boundaries. Like, there's a lot of dark stuff in this movie. There's a lot of elements that, nowadays would never be put in a kids movie, like the thing with Beetlejuice marrying the daughter, the teenage daughter. That would never happen in any movie nowadays for kids. But this is back when movies were good, so it happened in this. Well, it was going to happen. It was this dark element that, like, it makes you feel actual danger for these characters. And so, of course, you don't have that nowadays, because nowadays they don't want kids to feel danger. They just want them to be lectured about pronouns and about sexuality. And so this movie starts off, obviously, you guys, I hope you have seen Beetlejuice. I mean, I really hope so. Like, that would be a severe gap in anyone's catalog. I mean, you know what's really sad too? This is one of those movies where that there's a ton of people out there who haven't seen it because there's demons in Beetlejuice. I can't watch Beetlejuice because the demons are going to come out of the movie and get me. Ugh, it's an evil movie because it's all about magic, demons, evil. Ugh. That there's a ton of those people who are so scared, like, I can't watch Beetlejuice because Beetlejuice is scary. It has demons in it. The same people who are like, I can't watch Harry Potter because Harry Potter is witchcraft. Like, that there's a ton of people like that with this movie. That's the only unfortunate thing. But yeah, this movie is a classic. It's all about this couple. They live in this beautiful house in the middle of Nowheresville, which honestly, this kind of it looks like a nice place to live, but then when you think about the actual town, it doesn't really seem like a nice place to live. Like, the town is so small, you know that if you move there, that there would be a lot of gossip and people who discriminated against you. You can sort of see that in Big Top Pee-wee. That would be the best example. The way that those old townspeople treated Pee-wee. It seems like if you moved to a place like this, the same kind of thing would happen. And so that's pretty sad. But the town is very beautiful. It's very nice. It's very old school. You don't have these ugly-ass modern houses and modern buildings like the ones that the evil, greedy, cold-hearted, soulless, heartless Nutter family are trying to build in Beaver Creek Township, Ohio. You have these beautiful places, like even just the bridge, like the bridge where the main two characters die, a very beautiful little place. So this couple is there, and they have fixed up this house, and one of the things that already irritated me was they had this real estate woman, and she was telling them, "You guys need to sell this house. This house is too big for you." And I thought, like, shut up. Like, don't you hate those types of people who, like, tell you where to live? Like, they're like, "Oh, you should move there. You shouldn't live in that place." Like, ugh. It reminded me of Willard when he had all those people telling him, "That house is too big for just one person. You should sell it. You should sell it." Like, I always hate characters like that. And so, but at least she is nice. One of the things I liked about this movie was that it was very light. It had a lot of dark subject matter, but he treated it very lightly, and I think that was a good choice, because if you treated it like you would see it in real life, like with these evil people around here trying to do, it wouldn't be very pleasant to watch. It wouldn't be very fun to watch, so you have to kind of add this element of comedy. And I think that it sometimes goes a little too far for me, a little bit. Maybe, I guess, if you could be nitpicky. But overall, I think that the comedy element in this movie is a very good addition. And I think that it was a good choice to not treat it like a straight-up serious horror movie or anything, because that would have totally made people like it would have become a niche movie. It would have been kind of like Hellraiser, where Hellraiser is a masterpiece, but it's also an acquired taste. It's like Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. I kind of like that movie, I guess. I mean, it's okay, but it's very dark. It's an acquired taste. You don't want to watch it all the time. Contrast that with this movie. I could watch this movie all the time. It's so much fun. There's so many great elements in the whole film. And probably, well, okay, we'll talk about the best part of the movie. And so this couple dies. They're trying to live in their house because they can't live anywhere else. Because I wonder what the world outside of their house, I wonder what that's called. Like, did they have like a name, like a technical name? Like, is it limbo? Is it like a soul desert or something? Like, what do they call that place? They'll be in that place if they leave their house, though, which, I gotta be honest, like, that was one of the depressing parts for me about the movie. It reminded me a lot of American Horror Story Season 1, too. Just thinking about, like, what if you were trapped in one place for the afterlife? That seems like a really not fun thing. Like, I'm sorry, but if I was dead and if I was a ghost, I want to go everywhere. I want to go to places where I wasn't allowed to go to. I want to haunt people. I want to go see places I didn't get to see in real life. I wouldn't want to just be stuck in this one house And so I think that was something that sort of... But they liked it, they were very happy with it. And that was the sort of twist, was that this couple, they were told over and over and over again, you don't want to be here, you don't want to be here, you want to go somewhere else. And then they're like, no, we're going to stay here. And then what happens? They're stuck there forever, basically, or whatever, 175 years. But then that family moves in, the family that wanted to move in to begin with, and they're not very nice people. They're very greedy, cold-hearted, evil people. They're very self-centered and not likable at all, for the most part. And they all have their own agendas. And that was sort of the sad thing to see, because that happens all the time. You have this area around here where we live, and it's this beautiful open land. It's this open farmland area, and to think that they want to tear that all away and they just want to build stuff on top of it and make it this ugly suburban type of area, when it's not like that at all, it's just sickening. It's sickening and gross, and it just shows that people, they don't care. They just have their little agendas that they like to further. And my agenda is going to be keeping this house. And so I don't think that they're going to be very happy when I do what I'm going to do with my magic today. Because I will be doing some magic this afternoon. And it will be lots of fun, because I did it when I was younger and it was very effective. And so I don't think they're going to be very happy. Or maybe they will be, and they can go fuck off. So... And the reason why I'm talking about that is just because that's why I chose this movie. I chose a handful of movies that have to do with this topic, because that's really the only thing I care to review right now for the most part. I am starting to watch the Dahmer series, and I will get to Cobra Kai, and we will also be doing Full Moon Month too. And so we will be doing that stuff as well. But anyways, they want to get this family out of their house. Which, I gotta be honest too, I kind of want people there, or I guess they wanted people there, but not those people. And I couldn't blame them. And so they tried to get help from the handbook, and it tells them you should do these haunting techniques. And one of the things that kind of irritates me about the movie, looking back, is that this idiot couple won't even read the handbook. They just read, select things. And you'd think that if you were given a handbook that tells you, this is what you do when you die. Here is how you do this. Here. That was bad. Sorry about that. Here is how you do that. You'd think that these people would take that advice, and that it's a free book. They didn't even have to get it or anything. They didn't even have to go on a quest to get it or anything. They're just given this handbook on what to do when you're dead. And they're just like, oh, whatever, let's just read a couple of passages, and that's it. So I couldn't stand that. I never really thought about that watching this movie as a kid, but now as an adult, sorry, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry about that. But now as an adult, I'm really irritated that they just won't fucking read the handbook, because they're much more equipped to deal with this type of supernatural stuff. And probably the lowest point of the movie is when Otho gets the handbook. And Juno, their spiritual case worker, she even tells them that Otho has the handbook, one of the people who lives there, and that, you know, that's bad. You need to get rid of that. You need to get that back. And they never really try to do that. They never try to get the picture evidence that Lydia took. Lydia, Winona Ryder, the little girl character. She took pictures of them, and they never even try to destroy them or get them back. And so you had these two plot elements that they never really tried to deal with, while at the same time you had all these other things going on, and the story sort of becomes centered around this one character. And because they're like, okay, how do we get these people out of our house? And so they go to Beetlejuice. And Beetlejuice is, I would say he's one of the best movie characters in history. I mean, he is just so cool and so funny and creepy and kick-ass. Like, it's like he's like a supernatural monster on cocaine. I guess he used to be a person. And, he is just such a great character. And I gotta say, like, he really is the highlight of the movie. If he wasn't in the movie would be meh at best. And I say that, like, even though I love lots of elements from the movie, I think that the movie has lots of great stuff to it. I genuinely believe that Michael Keaton saved this movie, because his character, he's the most fun part about the movie. He's this figure of rebellion and of, like, cool, like, ooh, I wonder what he can do. He's very powerful. He's not just going to sit around and let this family take over this house and ruin it and do all this exploitative stuff with the ghosts. And so I really, really liked Beetlejuice in this movie. And I gotta say, like, I genuinely think if they make a sequel without Beetlejuice in it, like if they have it be after it and they just have it be where, oh, it's about some other issue and, Beetlejuice wouldn't even be in it except for like a cameo, like they did with the Ghostbusters where, oh, look, it's the Ghostbusters. They all come back at the end to cosplay in their Ghostbusters outfits and fight. And then, they're hugging a CGI ghost. Like, oh, wow, that's so special and amazing. Like, I really hope if they make a sequel, number one, don't make it the same story as the first one, because I don't want to see it at all if that's the case. Number two, don't have Beetlejuice just be a fucking cameo like in Ghostbusters Afterlife. Please. Because the reason why we watch these movies and things is to see these characters, to see these OG characters and their plots furthered. That's the reason. That's, I heard about Obi-Wan Kenobi and how you don't even see Obi-Wan Kenobi very much. It's basically just all about the stupid little girl. And then about the token bad guy girl. And so, like, it's like that. And it feels like, I really hope, just for once, at least with this movie, with Beetlejuice Part 2, have Beetlejuice be in it fully. If I were to make a sequel, I would do one of two things. Number one, I would make a prequel about Beetlejuice becoming who he was, and basically have it be where Michael Keaton could play a human, he could play a good, quote-unquote, caseworker assistant, and then he could play Beetlejuice in the third act. And so you'd have him playing three different characters, essentially. That would be so epic to watch that it's making me excited just thinking about it. Number two, basically what ends up happening is that they try to exploit the ghosts. They don't get scared, they get excited, these idiot, greedy people, and they try to exploit them and exorcise them, which was the stupidest thing ever. Otho, ugh. I mean, Otho, to me, I really think he was like the true villain of the movie. The way that he just really didn't care about these ghosts. At least Beetlejuice, at least he did care about the ghosts. Like, at least he did come back, help them, and he was going to be really evil and marrying Lydia. But I do think that Otho is almost worse. Because what happened to Otho after that? Like, did Otho change his mind? Did he end up, deciding like, oh, actually, we shouldn't torture these ghosts. We shouldn't torture them and take advantage of them and turn this house into a theme park attraction so that they're tortured forever. Like, what happened with Otho? Because they didn't even really show what happened to him. So I really think Otho and Beetlejuice are the villains of the movie. Everyone else is sort of just like in the middle. So, but what happens is he tries to exploit them, and then Lydia brings Beetlejuice back on the condition that he can marry her, which is pretty hilarious that she actually said yes to doing that. I thought, like, this is pretty dark. I mean, it's a pretty dark film, and that is one of the highlights of the film, is the last act. I really think that Lydia, she is also the second highlight of the movie. I really love Winona Ryder's performance in this movie. She's just such a cool aesthetic character, like a goth aesthetic character, and I really love her character in Beetlejuice. They have a really good dynamic, like not in like a positive way, but like in terms of kind of like Freddy Krueger and Nancy, or not Michael Myers and Laurie. Ugh, gross. I'm sick of that shit. Jason Voorhees and the Final Girls, Ghostface and never mind. not that one. See, I'm thinking about these ones, and then I'm thinking, oh yeah, they've ruined that. They really ruined the dynamic that Michael and Laurie had when they were brother and sister. Of course, they ruined that. And then they ruined Ghostface and Sydney because they killed all these other characters that gave Sydney this Mary Sue plot armor. So they ruined that. But Lydia and Beetlejuice, I really think they had the best dynamic in the movie. It was a very creepy dynamic between them. And so if they made a sequel, they showed at the end that Lydia goes to this girls' school. I would like to see some girl at the girls' school commit suicide. Some girl that Lydia is friends with, she can't really do anything about it or something, and then Beetlejuice comes into play somehow, and then all the girls at the school are tempted by Beetlejuice. I think that would be the scariest movie ever. I think it could be like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, where Freddy Krueger is haunting this hospital full of these teenage troubled youths. I think it could be like that. And so that's what I would have done for a Beetlejuice Part 2 personally. I think that could have been actually scary. And it could have had some moments of comedy, but I would have made it more scary because I don't really think I would do as good as at comedy as I would with horror. Comedy is very hard to do. And so I really applaud this movie's comedy. I really love the dance scene at the dinner table. That's one of my favorite moments of the film. I love a lot of the little jokes at the beginning. I love the creature effects. I love the lighting. The movie is very much like a live-action cartoon. And I think that's the reason why that Michael Keaton saved it, is because Michael Keaton is really the only part of the movie that feels like he is so fake that he's real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's so over the top that it feels like, yeah, he could actually exist. You could imagine with all these evil demons and spirits that there could be one like Beetlejuice, and that he could, tempt people, and he could make them think like, oh yeah, I could go to Beetlejuice for help. And so I really think that his character works best in the film. Lydia's the second best. Now let's talk about the rest of the cast. Because I do think the rest of the cast, they're all great actors. And the movie is very good. I mean, it's funny, it's fun, it's scary, it's dark. It's just very entertaining. It's a great movie, I would say, to watch around Halloween time when you have some candy and you're just, you see the Halloween lights outside lit up, these orange lights. But you have all these other elements of the film that just aren't as good as Beetlejuice and Lydia, those two characters. So let's start off with the couple. You have Alec Baldwin. And you have Gina Davis. Ugh. Alec Baldwin, he became who he is now. That's pretty bad, and it is hard to watch some of these movies when people turn out to be who they turn out in real life. That's the reason why, it's so terrible how all these celebrities lecture about their stupid politics, is because it takes away from the movie magic. It takes away from all their movies in the past, even with, like, watching a classic movie like this, you just think about, ugh, in real life, Alec Baldwin, blank, ... and then Gina Davis, oh no, ooh, became the biggest feminazi ever, created a disgusting anti-men organization where they're so obsessed with feminazism that they count the amount of minutes that women are on screen versus the amount of minutes that men are on screen. And she counts the lines that women have where they're not talking about male characters. I mean, what a stupid-ass, discriminatory organization that she came up with. I mean, she really... You want to talk about some of the biggest downgrades in Hollywood? Gina Davis was so likable in the 80s and 90s, and then she turned into what she is now. She's a monster. She's a bigger monster than Beetlejuice. Because if you followed her rules for watching this movie she'd say is trash. Because, the whole movie's about a man. It's about Beetlejuice. The title is Beetlejuice. That means the movie is sexist. That's the type of disgusting behavior that people have now normalized. Is this kind of, obsession with the hatred and erasure of men in favor of women. Especially with Gina Davis's organization that she came up with. Very, very horrible organization. But then again, it's not as bad as Kerwin Purple LLC, aka the creators of Bone Hill Village. So, them as a couple, they have great chemistry, this couple, but I don't really think they work very well in this movie in the sense that I really didn't get much of an arc for their characters. They start off one way and they stay that way the entire movie. They never ever have any sort of character arc. They never really... they kind of started to when they died a little bit, but they never really followed through on that because it's like a kid's movie. And so I really think that I wish that I could have seen more of an arc with them. That I could have seen more of a... I just didn't really feel like there was much there. I just felt like they were kind of uninteresting in comparison to, these colorful characters in Lydia. She wanted to kill herself, and then she changes her mind, and she has all these things going on, and then Beetlejuice, this person who, he was a rebellious person in the spirit world, and so then he got put away forever only to be brought back. These are two great characters, and I think that they're, it's too bad that the main characters, quote unquote, because that's the thing, Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, they're the main characters of the film. And if they don't work, then the movie doesn't work. And so I think that it's good that the movie was entertaining because their characters were kind of trash in a way. Like, they had a lot of great things to them. Their dynamic with Beetlejuice was great, especially the scene where Beetlejuice is checking out his wife, and then he's kind of having like a back and forth with Alec Baldwin. That was a highlight scene of the film. Of course, after they dug him up out of the model, which that was another interesting thing. And I wonder, in terms of mythology, how that happened. You know what I mean? Like, wasn't that kind of weird and strange? Like, do you think that maybe Beetlejuice originated from this town? From this town where they live? Like, it's kind of interesting to me to think about that. And so I think that if you made like a prequel where you expanded upon that, it would be kind of interesting. So then the people who live in the house, they're the least interesting people in the movie. I mean, first off, you have the mom from Home Alone. And she does a great job in certain parts. I think my favorite part was when she says, "If I'm not allowed to cut out this house and redesign it to whatever I want, I'm going to take you with me to hell." I think that was the funniest part. She's really good whenever she has these like outbursts and she just yells at the top of her lungs. I thought that was hilarious. So I really loved that. That was one of the funniest parts of the film. And then you had the husband, the principal from Ferris Bueller, and obviously he turned out to be the worst of them all in real life. But he is great when you see him in things. Unfortunately, in this movie, he plays a very boring character where he's just this guy who, he wants to look out at the land, and he wants to bird watch, and he's just kind of this weak character, and he's just really so I don't like him. And then Otho is a dimwit. I mean, he could be like Tweedledee and Tweedledee dumbass. He is just the biggest dumbass in the movie, and the way the stuff that he does is just retarded. And so I really don't like him. However, I did think he was like the third best person in terms of performance. Like, he did, he was a great actor. And so, and then who else? I don't think there's anyone else. Well, I guess the people that come there later, they're kind of nondescript. But they tried to have like this story with the family where, the husband and wife, they had like this drama where it's like, I don't want to live here, but you do. And, kind of this like uninteresting drama. And I think that was like the worst stuff in the movie. But overall, the movie is just very, very good. It's a very colorful, cartoony, but real movie. And I just love mostly everything about it. And I would highly recommend it. I mean, it's about time more people remember Beetlejuice and look, instead of making a sequel to Beetlejuice or making a remake, just look back on this movie and just appreciate it and think about how good it was and how bad it could have been if it was put in the wrong hands. But the reason why I brought those issues up with the characters and everything is because you notice that with certain directors, they have these flaws at the beginning of their careers. And those flaws become more and more apparent in each movie, and they sort of start to expose as the movies go on. And it's the same thing like with American Horror Story. The guy who does that. You know, in the first season, it has these flaws, but then as each season goes on, the flaws get worse and worse and worse. And you can see like this weakness with ending the seasons of American Horror Story. He never really solves that issue. And that issue gets worse and worse and worse to where we get the season 10 double feature where the first half ends horribly disappointingly, and it's only like 35 minutes. And then the second half of the season ends so badly that it's not even worth talking about. So, I think it's the same thing with this where, even though this is a fantastic movie, it is a nearly perfect, fun, kids family horror comedy film, I do think that you can see these little tiny cracks in the house. You can see these little tiny weaknesses of Tim Burton's, like in terms of characters, like, in Dark Shadows. Just thinking about how flat the characters were in that. Those characters, they were kind of like the characters in Beetlejuice a little bit, except they were a lot more one-dimensional and boring. And so, I don't know why that is, too. I don't know why. If anything, I would think that a director would see his flaws in one movie and then get better and try to improve. But I think with Tim Burton, it's the opposite, to where, now he's just not very good. I hope that Wednesday will be good, but I don't really think it will be. I think it'll be a disaster, and it's just unfortunate because Tim Burton used to be such a good director, and his favorite Dracula movie is actually my favorite Dracula movie, and that's, of course, Dracula AD 1972. That really is the best, and it's awesome, and it's epic. So anyways, in terms of food, I gotta rate Beetlejuice the thing that I ate when I first watched the film. For some reason, when I think about Beetlejuice, I think about having a nice big bowl of Cheetos. Because that's what I ate when I first watched Beetlejuice as a kid. I still remember it first watching it. It was such a fun experience. You know that feeling when you watch a movie and you know that it's such a good classic movie and you get these sort of tingles down your spine? That's the feeling that I got when I watched Beetlejuice today, and it's the feeling that I got when I watched it as a kid. There's so many great things about it. So many great things. And of course, especially the ending, the whole last 20 minutes is just flawless. I mean, it's just completely and utterly flawless. But the bowl of Cheetos, what it reminded me of the shrimp fingers. And so I picked up 5 Cheetos, and I sort of pretended like I was eating a Cheeto hand. And so I thought that was funny. I was doing that as a kid, and it was a very fun thing to do. In fact, it's really too bad that they didn't have like a promotional thing, a promotional Cheetos bag for Beetlejuice where you just had a bunch of Cheeto hands. I think that could have been really, really popular back then. So, that is my review for Beetlejuice. I love the movie. I know that I, quote-unquote, trashed the movie. To some people, they would consider it trashing the movie to say that, there's a couple of things here and there that I would change. But I'm just being honest. Like, when you're critical about movies and TV shows, you look at things a lot differently. It's not just like, I love movie, that's it. It's I love movie, but there are these things and these things and these things about it that I don't like, or maybe think that they could be stronger, and there are these things that I really like and think they're good. It's a lot more in the gray area. It's not just black and white. So please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought about Beetlejuice. What do you think they should do for a sequel? And then please subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more honest movie reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.